at Nordhoff for those now 34 years. Bill is gonna walk us through a number of songs. He'll introduce them all. And at the end, just before the end, I'll come back up and remind you of intermission and how important it is to support this wonderful event. So, Mr. Wang.
so much for being here today and enjoying our really the kickoff to the Independence Weekend. There's a lot going on in town, as Dr. Halverson mentioned. If you're out at the parade route tomorrow, I'm going to see you out there. So the band is number 5, so we get going pretty early. So don't be late to the parade or you're going to miss the high school band. So come early. How many band members do we have that are marching tomorrow? Yeah, a couple here. Anyway, we got a lot more. So anyway, we're going to have a great time. One of the great marches is actually the Liberty Bell March, written by John Philip Sousa, and it has a very interesting story. When it was originally written, it was published without any name whatsoever. Until John Philip Sousa went to a performance of a show entitled America, and at the very end, the conclusion, a big banner drops down. And what is on that banner? The Liberty Bell. From that moment on, he gave it the name, and the actual performance with the President's own band, the band that resides in Washington, D.C., when they perform this band, they play with a Liberty Bell that used to be on one of the Liberty ships from World War II, and that ship was entitled the SS John Philip Sousa. So now you know the whole story. Hope you enjoy it. The Liberty Bell March. Thank you. Our next piece we're going to do is entitled American Spectacular, and it has a lot of Americana songs. Some of them you may hear again as we go through the performance in the second half, but that's okay. They're so good we get to hear them twice, which is not a bad thing. So anyway, I hope you enjoy An American Spectacular. One of our most beloved composers of Americana is not American. He was born in Russia, but he moved here when he was 5. And Irving Berlin became one of the most well-known composers of American music, including some of our favorites. There's No Business Like Show Business, that classic White Christmas, and of course the one that finishes up our arrangement here, which is God Bless America. Irving Berlin, believe it or not, very well-known composer, but he ended up selling his rights to his first song for all of 33 cents. But back then, gas probably cost, you can do the math. Anyway, one of our most beloved Americana composers. I hope you enjoy this arrangement of a lot of his wonderful American pieces. Irving Berlin's Songs for America. Our next piece is actually one that sounds old, and we have kind of a reference to it being old. Anybody familiar with the PBS series that was based on the Civil War? So you probably have heard this piece if you have, but it's not from the Civil War. It's actually written in 1988, the same year I came to Ojai. It's not that old. And it was actually written by Jay Unger. Jay Unger ran a fiddle and dance camp. And this number was actually the number that they would play as their final goodbye, as their last song to complete their week of camp. And Jay Unger wrote this beautiful song, and we get to feature Brandon on alto saxophone. This is entitled Ashokan Farewell.
Oh, I love this.
So we have one more song before intermission. And I wanted to remind you that all we're trying to do from you folks tonight is raise $56,000. So I've done the math. If you get 7 tickets for $10, you get approximately 42,000 tickets for $56,000. You could win every single one of those raffle things with 42,000 tickets. So anyway, I'm also out here to remind you that we have about a 20-minute intermission. We'll have a second half with the Ojai Band with a different director who will introduce after the Ojai Band. And after the intermission, I will call you back in about 20 minutes. If I still see a long line of people buying raffle tickets, we'll wait a little bit longer. A very special song in the second act, and we put it in the second act, well, one, because our director wanted it there, but two, we get a chance to honor everyone here who has served in a branch of the armed forces during the second act. It's called the Armed Forces Salute, and for years and years and years and years, if you are like me, you applauded when people stood and you had no idea what the words to those songs were. Well, tonight, for the first time that I'm aware of, we have written out the words. So even the people in the service who can't remember what the words were when they were in the branch can remember their songs. Now, those words are available back both at the table where you're buying your raffle tickets and also at the Rotary booth. Please get them. I think it'll be so cool to hear all of you sing as people stand. Also, that song is going to be led by Marcus Kettles, Shanti's father. So it will promises to be a terrific song in the second act. So, Mr. Wagner, thanks again. One more song from you, and then off you go to raise money for this group. Thank you.